Hello, amazing writers. This is Mrs. Guthrie, and today we're going to work on making neat letters. Today we're going to talk about using the position of the numbers on a clock to make 2 o'clock letters. So I brought a big clock with me. This is my red Dr. Seuss clock. So you can see that 12 is way up at the top, and straight down from 12 is the 6. Over on the right side is the 3, and the left side is the 9. And boys and girls, we don't make any letters starting at the bottom of the clock. We always use the top of the clock. So I made a clock on the board. Now, I want to tell you a little story. Mr. Guthrie was a helicopter pilot, and pilots use the position of numbers on a clock to talk about where something is. So if we're riding in the car and Mr. Guthrie wants me to see something, he'll say, look, it's at 2 o'clock. And I have to imagine that the 12 is up here at the top, and 1, 2, not all the way to 3. And I look there and I can see what he's talking about. So we have quite a few letters in our alphabet that start at the 2 o'clock position. I drew a clock here, 12 o'clock, 1, 2. So here are some 2 o'clock letters. Now it's important to write neatly because then it makes it easier for you to read and your reader to read. And it also will make it easier for you to learn cursive writing. And I know you want a nice signature with cursive writing. So let's get started on our 2 o'clock letters. The first one is a lowercase a. So I've got a headline, a belt line, and a foot line. Well, I don't always have that on my paper. Sometimes I have to imagine where they would be. And I drew this, so it's not perfect, but it's about halfway. My belt line is halfway. So I think, okay, this would be 12 o'clock straight on top. So I'm going to come over a little bit and make an A, just like that. B is not a 2 o'clock letter because it starts at the top at 12 o'clock. C is, so again, I make my letter around for a C. D is a 12, oh wait, I could do a capital C. I would start up at the top. D is a 2 o'clock letter. I start at 2 o'clock and I go up and down just like the A, but I go all the way up. Not E. Lowercase f, I start at 2 o'clock and I have to pick up my pencil. I usually don't pick up my pencil when I write, but on an F and a T and a few other letters, I do pick up my pencil. Capital G starts like a C and goes around and then has a little seat on it at 3 o'clock. Let's see, our next one, we have to go quite a ways to get our next one, and I think we could start with O. O is a 2 o'clock letter. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to make sure we start at 2 o'clock because that, especially when we do cursive, gets us ready to write the next letter. Q is a 2 o'clock letter. I start at Q and I go around. Oh, I forgot my lowercase g. Look how confusing this is. A G goes forward and a Q goes backwards. That's what makes our letters so hard. Let me do that one again. I have a G, it's a basement letter, and a Q is another basement letter. S starts at 2 o'clock. Now S is really tricky because it starts at 2 o'clock. I'm gonna make it up here. It starts at 2 o'clock and it goes around and switcheroos and comes back like that. It's a hard letter to make. Capital Q is a 2 o'clock letter. And I'm just gonna fit that in over here. I'm gonna make a Q, I make an O, and I put a little tail on it, like Ramona Quimby, if you've ever read those stories. Those are great stories. And I think that's it for our 2 o'clock letters. So when you're making your letters, imagine a clock, imagine a 12, and a 1 and a 2, and you can start at 2 o'clock to make neat letters. And we keep our pencil on the paper for every one of these letters except for the F and the capital Q. So give that a try, boys and girls, and next time we'll do 12 o'clock letters.